What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. And listen, I want to talk about a couple of things. All right, one, briefly, I told you guys, okay, this whole Tyson Fury situation and him now making a hypocrite out of himself and now saying that all of a sudden now he may fight Wilder in a trilogy fight, and how he's not fighting AJ, he'll never fight in the UK again, and all of these things, right? And I brought up these things in a video. I dropped it. It's probably still uploading right now. And he's basically, look, the fight that he was supposed to have on December the 5th was supposed to be where? In the UK, right? And remember this whole thing about, well, him and Wilder was supposed to fight December 19th and all this stuff and everything that was said, all the insults back and forth, and he'll never fight him. Now he's retracting and he's basically saying something completely different now. And I told you guys, I said, listen, for everything that he just did, every one of those fanboy channels that's been blasting him all this time, oh, they think right now that this is just giving them more material to keep talking more nonsense. Okay, so he can't say they're talking nonsense when he's talking nonsense, and he's giving them, he's giving them two legs. He's giving them two legs to stand on to say, hey, look, see, you already know the first thing. I told you guys, I'm like, I already knew this was going to happen. Dante, all of them, Blue Blood, they're all. Fanon, yeah, he's won the arbitration and forced a third fight with Tyson Fury, right? Well, we know that's garbage. First off, if he would have won that case, like I said, he would have said something. Or his little puppet, what is his name, Tay Jones, he'd have been sitting there with his Wilder hat on, his little sweat jacket, sitting up there, bragging about they won the case and this and that and all this stuff. And they've said nothing. Wilder have said nothing. So basically, everything that Fury is doing right now, he's making an ass out of himself. He's doing the same thing that Wilder was doing. And basically, it's like, for him to even say these things and feel comfortable saying it, and then even made a comment about, he don't want to get his hopes up too high and not wanting to kill himself. And that, man, listen, man, I don't think any civil-minded human being is wishing somebody to go and shoot themselves and do whatever, but that's not what's on my mind. You understand? I know people who have killed themselves, okay? I know right now a situation where someone just took their own life, okay? Tyson Fury, just like anybody else, you've been through a depression, you know how you felt, and you did all this talk about you being a miracle story and the greatest comeback in boxing history and all that, and then now it's like the whole self-pity thing. He's doing the same shit that Wilder was doing. He's doing the same exact thing Wilder was, even to sit and allude to, well, I don't want to kill myself, I don't want to kill myself, and so this and that. He said he'll fight, he want to fight anybody. Listen, he doesn't care who it is, but he just wants to fight. Okay, well, AJ wants to fight. So why don't you want to fight AJ? Are you going to fight in front of a crowd in your next fight? Or is it that the AJ fight should be in the front of a crowd? Which is it? Because nothing he's saying is making any sense. Even I'd fight Mike Tyson, I'd fight Freddie Flintstone, all this shit he's saying. Okay, well, how about Anthony Joshua? That's the guy you were supposed to be fighting, and you spoke like you wanted to fight so bad, and now all of a sudden you're using the whole pity party. I don't want to, go into another depression and all that. Look, man, listen. I'm not like the rest of y'all. I'm not here to babysit. I'm not going to sit up here, sucking my teeth, and I hope he doesn't do that. If you don't think that much if you think that less of yourself as a human being, that you're going to sit here and even say that I don't want to get to that point, that means you have common sense to know things happen, and they don't always happen the way that you would like for them to happen, or the way that they're supposed to happen, right? You're not stronger than that. When you have people sitting over here don't have two nickels to rub together, but they're making it in life, and they haven't off themselves, even if they thought about it. They're still here, and here you are, got all this money, and you sitting up here talking like the fight not happening will be a disappointment to you. But if you listen to your own words, bro, like, hey, look, everything that's going on, you're clearly the one that's not making this fight happen. And the crazy part about it is everything that he said, right, that he wouldn't do, and then all of a sudden now he's changing his mind. How do you end up even saying you might just wind up fighting Wilder in a third fight? Didn't Wilder, which already expressed, part of what he didn't want was to fight you again? He just wanted a certain amount of money, then you can go off and do whatever you want to do, but you will never get to fight him. So if he becomes champ or whatever, you don't get the shot because of what you're doing. That isn't that part of what he was saying and wanted? So all of a sudden now you put that out there and say you just might fight Wilder in a trilogy fight. Wilder isn't talking about fighting anybody. Someone recorded Wilder out buying a car, chilling, doing whatever. Listen, for these guys that made good money, they have already got some money stacked up. They're not wanting for anything. I don't think these guys had a desire that they used to. And I feel like this is why it's like not a big deal for them to fight for Undisputed or to get in there and fight against the other top guys, because I think these guys are softening up and they're losing their touch, man. And I'm just being completely honest about it. You can't sit here and talk all this Undisputed and this and that, and you know how many years now we've been hearing AJ versus, Tyson Fury on British soil, and I'm like, yo, it's only right. I just want to see the fight. I don't care where they fight. You know what I'm saying? But I can understand. No problem. Now all of a sudden, I'll never fight in the UK again. And you had Wilder fans saying you couldn't fight in the UK again because they're going to open up that case about the boar meat or whatever it was, and all you denied all of that. And then all of a sudden, like I said, your December 5th fight was supposed to be in the UK. You couldn't find an opponent and all this. Wilder claimed he was looking for another fight. Neither one of y'all have fought anyone. Now, I'm personally not interested in the third fight, which I've expressed already a million times already. But what I don't get about any of it is, you see, when these fights don't happen, and then everybody's going to have their story and their version as to why the fight did not happen, doesn't it really make you guys look at AJ and say, it's a good thing that AJ is cool and calm and doesn't talk all this kind of crap? Because one thing you can't accuse him of is running his mouth and then not backing it up. So all of this, oh, this happens, that happened, and this person is this and this, but they never can directly tell you who's doing what. They can never just pinpoint this is what it is. This is why it's not happening. This is the person at fault or whatever. They never can seem to do that. So anyway, pause. So check this out, y'all. Moving on from Tyson Fury, because we've said enough about him, and pretty much the things that he has been saying, it just turned me off completely. And out of all of the crazy nonsense talk that Tyson Fury does, I mean, this is kind of like, it's really petty. It's silly, okay? I was watching an interview with Daniel Dubois. Now, good news about him, that he said he has clearance from his doctors and that his eye is fine, and that, he's starting his first week of training and sparring and, getting back on track. He didn't have a lot to say. Now, yeah, he had a lot to say about the fight. He said some things about Joe Joyce's mom, and that wasn't necessary. And I definitely made that. I've said that many times. Like, boxing has no place for that, man. We want to see good fights, and people always say that, trash talking is good for boxing. No, why is it good to have people sit up and have to say a bunch of really disrespectful and just really stupid things? Because you talking about his mom has nothing to do with the fight. Okay, what happened is over with. Joe Joyce isn't tripping over it anymore. His mom addressed it briefly, but at the same time, when you really break it down, it's like this, okay? Daniel Dubois is a young man. He's this is his first loss. People are making it seem like he's the only fighter that ever lost a fight. I mean, it's no different from Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and the difference with what happened and all the specifics don't make a difference. The point is he still lost. Okay, when he was expected to dominate. Well, in this fight, Joe Joyce is a guy who's very durable, showed a solid chin, and pretty much, there's other more experienced fighters that will be able to capitalize on those things that Daniel Dubois couldn't. Now, the thing is, it was a close fight. It was a very close fight, okay? People make it sound like Joe Joyce just went there and dominated from the first round, and like it was no contest. No. Joe Joyce, for us to sit here and say, well, what if he didn't hurt the eye? What if... No, he did hurt the eye. And what happened, happened. So just accept that, and that's what it is. No excuses. Joe Joyce was the better man. It's as simple as that. Joe Joyce won the fight. He's going on to fight Usyk, okay? And we know Usyk beat him in that tournament, okay? That at the end of the day, if Joe Joyce, let's say if Joe Joyce loses to Usyk again, okay? People have said Usyk is not a real heavyweight. They looked at his performance against Chisora. Nobody was really overwhelmed by it, including myself. But what if he beats Joe Joyce again? Then what does that say? Does it mean he just has Joe Joyce's number? You know what I mean? So then what? So we're gonna start saying Joe Joyce is trash? Joe Joyce is garbage? I see a lot of people saying like, yo, Dubois is a bum, he's overrated, and just listen. You can have your opinion, but I don't understand why grown folks are so damn ignorant to the point of where there's a young guy who lost one fight, and now this is the rebuilding process, and everybody, instead of, hey, okay, on to the next one, they keep bringing that loss up as if like it's over for him. Only time will tell how he bounced back. Okay, only time will tell how good he's going to become. So I can't. I'm not one of these people that can tell you, oh, he's going to come back better. And every fighter says that we don't know that yet. But I will say this about about Dubois. He can fight. He's been one-dimensional. He said some things that he'll change, but he didn't get into it. Now, and when a guy asked the question, I'm saying to myself, man, you never sit up here and give your strategies away and what you're working on and why there's no need for that. Just let your actions speak for itself. That's basically all. That's all. And Frank Warren jumped in several times to speak and say the things, answer certain questions that he was asking Dubois. But I'll say this about boxing in general, man. Like, if we want to see fighters fail, if we want to see fighters, we just want to focus on who our favorites are, but then the rest of them, this guy, this, and he's this, and he's this, and it's not like the division is that deep to where we don't have a bunch of superstars, okay, in the division. First off, understand something. What's going to be is going to be. I'm not going to cry over none of them. If he comes back and let's say he gets destroyed in his next fight, hey, it's unfortunate, but what am I going to lose sleep about? Over any fighter. Personally, me looking at everything, I hope that he can come back and be better than he was. Now, whether he avenged that loss to Joe Joyce or not, we don't know. But at the same time, we know the things he has to work on. A lot of things that we saw, I'm pretty sure that him and his team saw it. They know. They should know. But at the same time, it's just a lot of negativity. Where people are, oh, he's trash, he's garbage, he's overrated, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. The funny thing is, people say, oh, everybody's afraid to let their O go, but then when someone lose their O, you dwell on it. And that's all you talk about. Like I said, as if it's just over, like it's nothing he can do to get better, or, he lost, he got a loss. Somebody even made a comment about Tyson Fury being better than AJ and Wilder, and saying they both got losses on their record. You can't say the same thing about Fury. Fury's undefeated. So, see, all this talk about that, oh, is not so important. See, that's bullshit. But at the same time, it's the type of thing where people are so hypocritical that even when you have people that agree with you, a lot of times, even a lot of those same people, they're still hypocrites because they address other situations and they address it with favoritism. It's just that they vibe with you on certain situations because you may like the same fighter that they fight that they like as a fighter and things of that nature. But for me, it's never personal. I'm not to none of these motherfucking people. To nobody. I don't do that shit to nobody. The only heroes I ever had growing up was my dad, my relatives, my family. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't have no TV hero. I didn't have no surrogate TV dad. This is. I don't look up to anybody. I never have and I never will. I respect, I appreciate. Daniel Dubois is a guy in a position where he went to a fight, he was ready for war, and then guess what? Something happened that he wasn't ready for. And for people that's talking about, oh man, if it was me, if it was you, you would have got knocked the fuck out earlier. In bottom line, it wasn't you, and it's always easy to say if it was me, I'd have did this, I'd have did that. But when I'm hearing him talk, it sounds like he's been humbled. At least as of now, he didn't really have too much to say. He's kind of quiet. He's just sitting there. What happened? Had people saying, "Oh, he was embarrassed." Embarrassed for what? What happened? Happened. It's not like it's something new. He had a long time to soak that in already, and he should be over the embarrassment part. I mean, you're a fighter, man. What happens, happens. He's still young. He got growing. He still has room to improve. He has some growing to do in the sport of boxing. Now, everybody doesn't have to like a fight, the same fighters that is everybody else, and that's never going to be. I'm not saying, oh, you have to like Daniel Dubois as a fighter, or you should. No, what I'm saying is just the ignorance, the negativity that goes, that comes with people you put labels on fighters and act like, they are what you say they are because you're saying it. No, if Daniel Dubois comes back better, hey, kudos to him. If not, like I said, it's unfortunate. But for any fighter, look at what's going on in the heavyweight division. Look at what's going on in boxing, period, man. We get a good fight here and there. And if you look at the amount of talent that's out there, it's so unfortunate that people are just making it so difficult to get in the ring with each other and fight. So I'm looking forward to him coming back. Hopefully that, like I say, he can come back better than he was. I'm not big on words. Anybody can say I'm gonna come back bigger, better than I was, stronger, faster, whatever. Yeah, it all sounds good, but we want to see it first. So for me, it's just less talking, more action. And pretty much he didn't have much to say. He was just sitting there like, he was answering the questions, but in so many words. So looking at it for what it is, I hope that Daniel Dubois can come back and maybe him and Joe Joyce get it on again. Joe Joyce, I don't feel like he needs to, try to rematch him right away if he does rematch him right away, because Joe Joyce is, 35, 36 already? And if he beats Usyk, there's no reason for him to go backwards. He needs to go and try to, go forward and get a bigger paycheck, getting there with a, more elite fighter. In the meantime, if he does wind up rematching him at some point, and it's a father time issue where, he's not the same fighter, then, it doesn't do much for Daniel Dubois in the sense of, okay, you just be the old man. You be the washed up fighter. But at the same time, I guess just to have some payback will be bringing some kind of satisfaction, whatever. But I don't want to see any of them fail. I look at all these fighters and I say I want to see them all make it. Everybody's not going to have the same status. Everybody's not going to have the same resume. We already know that. But, it's not about wishing for a downfall for people. Now, when you got fighters that pull a bunch of buffoonery, or they're a bunch of liars, and they just do a bunch of shady type stuff, I can't get behind them, and I just, hey, you do what you do. If it worked for you, it worked for you. If it don't, it don't. I don't have time for games, People are even talking about, just to mention, like, somebody made a comment about Tyson Fury, like, oh man, you don't believe all that stuff, right? Tyson Fury is going to sign a contract. I don't know what Tyson Fury is going to do. And that's the thing. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not a little kid. Why we got to sit up here and wonder and use our imaginations about what he's going to do? I really don't care that much. So when I speak about it, it's like, this is what's going on. This is what was said. Either these guys want to fight or they don't want to fight. It's one or the other. All the head games is for what? What is this accomplishing by sitting here pretending you don't want to fight if you really do? So, as far as I'm concerned, man, the games are for kids, man. I don't have any interest in that. So, Daniel Dubois, eyes better. He got clearance. That's a plus. And I wish him nothing but the best. Joe Joyce, Usyk, they gonna get it on. Now, personally, in all honesty, I'm pulling for Joe Joyce. I hope Joe Joyce wins this fight. if he wins this fight, I hope that he gets in a position where he can get in there with a top guy right away. Another top guy right away. Usyk is a solid fighter, but Usyk, you know that Usyk has to win his fight against these big guys on his toes. The problem with Usyk is if he gets to a point where he can't move like he used to and he ends up being more stationary, Usyk is going to have all kinds of problems with these big punches, man. Because Usyk, part of him being so effective is the fact that he can get in and out, he can get away and keep these guys coming, and he just outworks them. And you know, I don't know. They're about the same age, so we'll see what's going to happen when these two fight. But like I said, I'm pulling for Joe Joyce because look, when Joe Joyce beat Daniel Dubois, he showed me a lot, man. And I said, damn, you know what? And I still feel the same way. He's slow. You know, he has some power, but he's slow. He's there to be hit, but he can take a punch. But again, it's like I said, the elite guys will be able to take advantage of those things that Daniel Dubois didn't. But the same way he showed up in that fight, who knows? Who's to say he can't do it again? You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of respect for Joe Joyce, and I hope he do the damn thing, man. I like Usyk as a fighter too, but you know, I want to see Joe Joyce pull this thing off, man. And at the end of the day, I just want to see the best fight the best. So, look, that's all I'm going to say in this video. I will catch y'all on the next one, and just remember, never fall in love with lies. The truth brings hate out of people.